There we go. We're live. Sweet, we should be running. Yes, we're running. And good evening and welcome again to episode 85 Endless Banter. Once again, Paul, what have you had for tea? What are you enjoying? What have you had this week? How are you generally?
Cod chips and peas, cup of tea, some Diet Coke, some fucking 12 some celebrations, and I've been busy motherfucker all week.
That was a quick recap. How about you, Adam? How's your week been? What you have for tea? How's a little lady?
We've been very long.
Dry it.
Very sweet. Yeah, he's got me sweet. Yeah. Other than that, tea I had. I went round to mother-in-law's and she done some. She made a nice chicken Kiev. It was nice. Smell a bit garlicky now, but yeah.
I'll beat that. Right, there we go. My camera should be better this week. So I've got a few topics for you to go over. I know Paul, you're only staying for an hour or so, and then me and Adam will finish it off. But we've got a little bit of news to go over. So on Thursday, the American ban on flavoured pods is into full swing, but the Americans have found a loophole in this, and the loophole is disposable pods, as it's not in the policy. Do we think that disposable pods will be as popular as these flavoured pods that people are using, or do you think people are not going to know about them?
I think I remember messaging the company about 2 years ago to say, I've got a Chinese hookup that can make dual pods that are disposable, refillable. And they said, we're not interested, we don't need them. And I was like, you really do. Because not everyone wants the flavour in a filled pod. Not everyone wants that different, whatever. People fucking, you get 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 fills out of a pod before the core's fucked and all that malarkey. But I think pods will smash it, to be honest, because it means that you can now put a flavour in something that you couldn't before.
It's the disposables are actually a full unit. You can't actually change the pod. They're literally a full fucking unit.
Oh, so it's just like
a stick.
Like a stick pod.
Yeah. You can't actually touch the pods over there that are refillable, or you can take them out of whatever disposal. Literally, it's a stick that I think some of them are like, they call them the puff stick or something like that, and it's literally just a stick, and you bin them like the sticks. And that's why they're saying these aren't being put in the policy. So they're saying the loophole is we're going to have to use disposables. But does then that not become more expensive, pointless?
Do you honestly think though, like it's going to stop anybody that's got access to internet getting anything they want? Because I mean, I don't know whether it's America's like it is over here, but no matter what they do over here, we're always going to be able to get it. We can all get like not TPD stuff, can't we now?
Yeah, it's refilled. It's these pods that they've banned, so they've only banned pre-filled pods. So obviously you can still buy pods for like Caliburns and stuff like that. It's literally pre-filled pods. So obviously we know in America the massive child epidemic is Juul, isn't it? They're saying it's all about Juul and these pre-filled pods. Well, they've literally banned it across the board. So like your blues and stuff like all that comes with a pod system as a refillable tank. Sorry, a refill tank or a filled tank. That's what they've banned. They've not banned other stuff.
I mean, I can't see it being a bad thing then. It's like, but do you mean they banned like say like the pod, like say the Boost, they ban them kind of pods as well, or is it just?
Well, no, it's just pods that are already liquid filled in them. So like Juul, obviously you buy the cartridges, don't you? They buy the cartridges. A Blue, you buy the cartridges, and there is other companies out there that you buy the cartridges. So they've banned flavors in all them cartridges. I think it's literally tobacco you can only buy.
Mate, I'm thinking the main it affects big tobacco. They're the people that have really got massive sales of pre-filled pods. I don't think they give a shiny shit what they're fucking selling, what they're buying, what people are using. They're just slowly consuming the market. So people change what they do to suit.
Yeah. Going on from that, the actual pod itself. So Imperial Tobacco owns Blue. That's who owns Blue, is Imperial Tobacco. Because of the ban, they've lost $1.9 billion in their stock market.
Yeah, but that's like me dropping a tenner.
True, it's true. But will that curve their investment in vaping? If they've lost 1.9 billion, will it curve their investment?
If I lost a tenner, I wouldn't shut my shop.
True. But and on the other hand, Philip Morris, who owns of Juul, so owns that percentage of Juul, that third of Juul, have lost 4 billion. So they paid 12.5 billion for their 25% in Juul, and they've lost 4 billion.
So that's like me losing 40 quid. I still wouldn't shut my fucking shop.
But I think it might tear them away from the vaping industry, maybe.
I think it might make them more careful. There might be more. Then there might be more kind of thoughtful as to what way mainstream vaping is going with them out to know, and not just stick
maybe.
You've got to think though. These are companies. Blue gave their sales reps £200 million worth of free shit to give away over a 6-month period. That's a fifth of £1 billion. These like £1 billion to these people. Honestly, it's probably not even like me losing a tenner. It's probably like me losing the 20 pence piece down the side of the setter. It's like 4 billion is a huge amount of money, but it's not a huge amount of money to these. They've probably made more than 4 billion selling fags since this happened.
True.
You know what I mean? They're like next level wealthy people. Mate, I reckon you could take 4 billion out of Philip Morris's bank account and he wouldn't even realise. He'd just think it was a fucking overdraft charge or something. Enough notes on the fucking paperwork, the bank statement to put on his fucking accounts, man. The geezer's boring.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it would sort of maybe lead them away from sort of what they're investing now in vaping, because obviously we know Blue and Juul are worldwide known, these companies. So is it going to then stem them to bring out different products? Because obviously of the filled cartridges, what are they going to do next? So they've got to do something that's going to recuperate that. You know, someone's got to take.
I think it falls down to like
£12.5 billion on a company that wasn't worth £12.5 billion. These people have got next level amounts of money, Tom. Don't think £4 billion, they're all sat around the table crying. Honestly, I mean, they've got next level amounts of money, and all they'll do is they'll invest and manufacture products that are saleable. But you think of the advertising that them two companies have got solely in the United States in the last fucking week. Yeah. Probably more than £4 billion worth of advertising worldwide about the fact they've lost £4 billion, they've lost £1 billion. It's irrelevant. It's just part and parcel of their spend to acquire this industry, and they will acquire it. They will. They're just waiting.
I think it depends on, because they're having elections over there again. I think now Trump's come to the end of his term, as they call it, every 4 years. So if Trump gets back in and it's going the way it is, and it don't look good for vaping over there, but depends on someone's view, because everyone has their different policies on it, don't they? Like parties.
Well, we're finding loopholes in the system, aren't there? Obviously, with this,
Imperial Tobacco will just bend and wax and wane until they're the only people. At the end of the day, you've got to think, if James Burr lost £4 billion of his money, that would probably only leave him a couple of billion left. Then you've got to then seriously start thinking about, how do I keep investing? And if I lost £1,000, I'd only have 500 quid left, and I'd have to start thinking about how I invest that money. These people have lost £4 billion, but their slush fund is next level availability to them. Yeah. So it's not only them two companies that have lost money from it, there's lots of other companies that have invested in pre-filled pod systems. But the reality is that Juul and Imperial both push for a law that potentially fuck their own companies. But what it does along ways, it also fucks companies that can't afford to take £100,000 loss or a £500,000 loss or a £5 million loss. So it's like sacrificial lambs to them. That it's literally what they've done with tobacco. They completely govern tobacco to the point where the only people that could afford to run with it. And they'll do the same with vaping. And if you've got a company that's invested, say, £10 million pounds, a huge amount of money by anyone's standards. If you invested £10 million in a device and flavours and registration and marketing, and then that product gets pulled before you've even recouped a fraction of the cost, you're fucked.
Yeah.
They can afford to invest billions of pounds and not give a fuck, because there's so many other people that fall by the wayside that when Joel and Imperial, I guarantee, will have a pre-filled disposable pod system available before the end of the week, because they will know what the loopholes are, because they've probably been in bed with the people writing the rules about how this is going to go. It's probably there and done. So let's just hit the floor running again. And then in another 6 months' time, when everyone goes, fuck me, disposable pods, let's invest in disposable pods, then pair of cunts will meet you someone and say, oh, we shouldn't even be doing this. This flames the law, let's change it. So every other cunt that's invested in the last 6 months falls by the wayside again.
Yeah,
I honestly believe that's what they do. They suck people in and they spit them out, and they're the only people with enough fucking funds around them to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah, because they've got obviously pre-filled pods with the flavours. There's not then stopping them now just releasing empty pods, because everyone's already hooked on that pod system. So all they do is then release empty pods and then a juice line.
You can already buy pods for a Juul that are refillable, and with a coil, you can change the coil in the fucking things.
Yeah.
So trust me, it's not going to dent there. It's not going to. They've probably assigned £10 billion to a marketing campaign for this year. 4 billion of it taking this shit on the chin, and all they'll do, they'll drop the products. Their share value will pick up. The business is worth the same, but regardless of what the business is floating at, these geezers have got strong dough in the bank. They've got money that they can put their hands on.
Yeah.
And any company that they went to and says, all right, I'm Philip Morris, I want you to make me a device, they'll all be falling over themselves to make them something on the proviso that the geezer's going to sell hundreds of thousands of millions of these fucking things.
Yeah. So they'll be making like Joe for like pennies for them because they're getting orders of like 1 million units, 2 million units.
And that's just how this industry works. That's to say, literally, they've done exactly that with tobacco. For years and years and years, government said tobacco's killing people, and they all said, no, it's not. And they said, this is, and they said, no, it's not. All the 5 big tobacco companies at that time went to the government and said, actually, you're right, we need to regulate this. We need to do this, 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 and this. And at the end of that fucking program, there was 5 big tobacco companies left. And anyone they wanted, they bought, and anyone they didn't want, they let fall by the fucking wayside. They didn't give a shit about. They manufactured a situation where they were the only people that was financially stable to do to run with the regulation that they had implemented. They advised the government on how to implement these regulations. And I've been saying for 2 years, TPD, they gave us a level of impurity allowed in the liquid, and already straight away within weeks, big tobacco companies and big pharma-backed companies, big tobacco-backed companies were manufacturing 100 times cleaner than what they had to. Because at some point they will go to the government and say, we're achieving this level of impurity, everyone should. And the government will go, fuck me, these boys must know what they're talking about, because one of them's just written me a personal check for fucking 10 million. So I need to listen to what this cunt's got to say. Everyone, your labs are no good now. You need to put this style of lab in, and that lab's going to cost you X amount of pounds. And everyone's going to say, we ain't got the money, and all the tobacco boards say, well, fortunately enough, we have. So let's march forward and fucking fuck everyone. That's just what this way it's going to. I've said it for fucking 5 years. That's what will happen. They will implement regulation because they've got enough weight. They've got enough money to put into these reports that suggest that by doing this, it'll make it safer. And they're the only cunts that can afford to do this, whatever this is, whatever they decide. Other people generally can't afford to do.
Yeah. As you say, it's like it's already in the works to do that, isn't it? They've already got the foot in the door. They're already making their way into it, and it's sort of just a matter of time that this stuff's going to happen. It's kind of scary though. To be realistic, it's kind of scary because, as you say, it's just going to knock everybody off the fucking playing field, isn't it?
It is what it is,
We
mate.
are the kings, we own it, and off you go. And then that's when your price increases come, and everything's now for vaping liquid. 10 ml liquid is exactly the same as a fucking 20-pack of cigs, and it's where we're fucking messed up. But then I always go back to the thought of you're always going to have that black market. They're never going to be able to get rid of it because of the black market unless they regulate fucking being able to purchase nicotine, which they've tried with the TPD and didn't fucking succeed.
At the end of the day, Tom, it's not legal to sell heroin, but if you've got enough dough around you, I'll get you a kilo of heroin before midnight tonight, and I'll drop it to Leeds for you, because that is the way of the world. Cocaine's not illegal. I know people that are truck driving around with kilos of the shit in the boot of their car, shotting it out left, right, and fucking centre. Guns aren't legal. People are getting shot on the street. Stabbing someone in the head isn't legal. People are getting stabbed on the daily in the country. So the legalities of it is neither here nor there. Actually, if I'm gonna peddle nicotine as an illegal product, I might as well just fucking cut my losses and shut out some fucking crack.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, no, I'm being serious. I mean, the whole point of me doing
what I'm being serious.
Mate, I can remember back in the day, right, when we was at our peak, and I remember I know people that are fucking shifting gear, and I know that as a business we were doing dough on par with people that were selling drugs. And I could go to bed at night and shut my door, and I knew no one was going to fly my door off. I knew I weren't going to get kidnapped in the morning. I weren't going to get shot on the schoolroom because I've sold someone some dodgy heroin and their fucking sister's dead. I was running a legitimate business and we were making good money. And I knew people that were selling legal highs at the time, doing £10,000 a day. The shop was open for 6 hours a day. They had a queue around the fucking block when it opened at 10 o'clock. And they were kicking people out at 6 o'clock when it shut. 10 grand a day selling legal highs, and they didn't have to advertise because people thought it was like the methadone clinic, mate. It was a fucking queue around the block at 10 o'clock every morning. And for about a week. And I'm talking when I hadn't even opened my shop, we were decorating the vape shop before we opened the first shop. And for months, I'd watched this legal high thing grow and grow and grow. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to put 10 grand into legal highs. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine who'd just been made redundant from from Dunlop. And he got some dough around him, and he phoned up and he's gone, mate, I was in the shop, I was stood in the shop upstairs looking out the window across the road towards Greg's on the phone. And he said to me, I've just got sort of decent payout from Dunlop. What can we do, mate? We'll put fucking 10 or 15 grand into something each and we'll do something. And I said, legal highs, mate. Put 15 grand each into legal highs and we'll become millionaires within a year. Legitimate millionaires where we're not having to sell football on the counter. We just got crackheads queuing up for their fucking legal shit every day. And he said to me, you know what, mate, I'll do anything apart from legal highs. And a friend of his was an architect, and they'd been out to look at extending some big manor house out in Worcester that was actually a mental institution. It was like an old manor house that had been turned into a mental institution. And my pal had gone along with his pal, who was an architect, and they were looking at doubling the size of this property. And he says, there was literally people hanging out the windows, mate. Like, it was like one flew over the cuckoo's nest. The oldest person in there was about 23, and 90% of the people in that place was all addicted to legal highs. And he said, I can't do it, man. I need to get to bed at night and sleep. And I said, you know what? I'm happy with what we're doing on the vape side of things. Even to the point where I said to him, if you want to, come in with me on the vape side and we'll open some more vape. Even if we call it something else, and we'll open a new one that's called Nothing to Do with Shady Vaping. And we didn't do that, but legal highs for me, there was a legal high shop not far from our factory, and it opened at 10 o'clock in the morning. There was a cash point machine at the shop next door to it. The geezer used to fight his way to open the shop at 10 o'clock. And if I tell you there was at least 30 to 40 people outside the shop every fucking morning without fail to buy his shit off him, it was a joke. An absolute joke.
Fucking hell.
Mad.
So on that basis, if I'm gonna sell nicotine that's illegal, I buy a kilo of fucking cocaine for 30 bag and I'll shot it out. There's no difference. I'm also taking my chances one way or the other. So, but it'll always be available because for the same reason heroin's available, it's there. And all that'll happen is when the black market kicks in, it'll become more expensive because it's illegal.
Legal, otherwise, even the tobacco companies can't do it. So they just have to make it more regulated to a certain extent, no?
Yeah, they'll regulate it to the point where it's not legal for someone who's not fucking registered to sell it, and to register will cost you X million pounds, and the only people afford to regulate are them boys, and they'll do something that makes it impossible for me to be able to just advertise 72 milligram nicotine on Facebook, on eBay, on fucking where it's. You can go on eBay now and buy 72 milligram nicotine. You shouldn't be able to because it's fucking against TPD. You're not even supposed to sell 72 milligram. You're not supposed to sell over 20 milligram nicotine in 10 mil quantities, unless you're buying wholesale. So what do I do? So I set up a wholesale website and pretend it's wholesale and just sell it, shot it off to every cunt. I could have done that 2 years ago. That's something I thought about doing. We'll set up a wholesale.
When TPD first come in, I went out and bought a litre of the shit. I've still got it. Yeah, it's just festering away over there. Like.
Exactly. And as a business, we went out and bought it to sell on to our customers before TPD kicked in. And the reality was, nick shots come in and people couldn't be arsed fucking about. Yeah. But I mean, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I thought to myself, we'll set up a wholesale website. People are going to have to pay £5 a year to join our wholesale website. They'll get a membership number as a wholesaler and then come and buy what you fucking like. And as long as you're registered, I'm a wholesale. I'm just supplying to wholesale. They've paid to register a wholesale account, so I can sell them 72 milligram nicotine. And again, I just decided that I don't want to run a business where I'm literally flaunting laws left, right, and centre trying to make a living. When the business that we had was still making a good enough living to not have to stress about fucking trading standards kicking the door down and fucking all that other shit. So we as a business just decided, let's just go legitimate and it will be what it will be. It'll either work for us or it won't work for us. And as it goes, from what I've seen, is last year was the point where shops started shutting, liquid companies stopped manufacturing, things started to even out. And for me personally, the last 4 months, since Black Friday, since that sort of time, we've seen a slight upturn at both stores, more so at Dudley than we have at Yardley, but Yardley never dropped anything like what Dudley dropped. But we've seen an upturn, and we've continued to see a slight upturn. Now, to have an upturn in an industry that is saturated beyond fucking belief, for me, it's brilliant. I ain't got stressed. But there's shops shutting, there's businesses going bum, and there's people going, oh, I can't, it's fucking shame for them. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not here to fucking gloat about the fact that we're still doing what we do. But that was always going to happen. The strong will survive and the weak will fall by the wayside. Or some people have decided it's not worth the effort for the return anymore. Now, for our business, it's still worth it. I mean, and I've said it all. I've said it from fucking 6-7 years ago. When the business isn't worth it, I'll drop the roller shutters and I'll shut up shop and I'll move on to something else. It's literally that's my whole ethos behind the business. So I'm not stressing. I haven't given up my job. If the shop shuts tomorrow, I can still pay my bills. Everything that we've done in the last 7 years has been an absolute bonus to our lives and to the pensions and to the money in the bank. And on that basis, I'm happy. So I'm literally, and I've said it week on week on week, I'm not stressed about what happens. What will be. We haven't given up our livelihoods. I never walked out of a 20-odd year job to do a job that potentially I thought at the time might only have 2 or 3 years legs. As it goes, we're into year 8 now. We finish year 7, we're into year 8, and it's still doing what it does. Every year after the first 2 to me was a massive bonus because I didn't expect us to get 2 years before we got regulated and fucked up. So
yeah, it's been decent. It's just, as you say, like going back to what you're saying about the regulatory regulations of it all and stuff. I feel like if that was the case, I think trading standards would have come in a long time ago. But I don't feel like trading standards, as we've said on many shows, that they don't have the workforce to go out there and police it. So it's just going to go on as it fucking is anyway.
I was sat in James Burr's office probably about June, July time, and he showed me a list that someone had been emailed from trading standards about priority, about what trading standards priority was. And vaping was lower than someone selling hockey fags under a counter. It was actually at the bottom of the list.
Fucking hell.
Literally, it was at the bottom of the list of priorities on tackling shit that's been, even on stuff that's been reported, it was at the bottom of the list. So Adam phoned up this morning and says, the Polish shop round the corner from us is selling hockey fags, and you phoned up and said, the fucking shop down the road from me selling litre bottles of 72 milligram nicotine. They'd have gone and tapped Adam's pal's door off before they come to the vape shop. Bearing in mind that a litre of 72 milligram drunk by a child would kill him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Half of them wouldn't know what they're looking at. They went into a vape shop anyway.
And that's what happened, mate. There was trading standards going in saying you can't have that in your shop. Yeah, I can. It's nicotine free, mate. It's not part of 2PD.
What, you actually had trading standards? I've never heard of trading standards even entering a shop yet.
I've heard of a few going. Yeah, I've heard of a few going in.
What trading
standards? Yeah, I've never personally heard of it. I wouldn't mind seeing it just to know that it happens, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that had trading standards in, and I know that James Burr had trading standards into the warehouse. And bearing in mind, James' warehouse is huge. It carries a massive amount of stock. And the only thing they called James upon was just jam because it was advertising food. So that was when that happened. That was when everyone started doing a rebrand and taking pictures of sweet stuff labels. And actually trying to be proactive and say, we're not advertising jam to kids. Actually, we're advertising the fact this is a jam-flavoured liquid that adults want to vape. And clearly where jam was concerned, they did because it was probably it was the biggest selling liquid.
I've got it here.
Yeah, it's still jam, but it used to have pictures of strawberries and shit on it before.
Strawberries, yeah. Yeah, I had strawberries and I think maybe a knife with jam on it, I think. They got a knife with like jam on it and strawberries, didn't it?
I kind of remember now you said it, but it's been like that for a long time now, isn't it?
Yeah, we're probably going maybe within 6 months of TPD coming out. And actually, I'm 95% sure James only got a visit off trading standards because somebody else had put him in. Because I know that another wholesaler had a visit off trading standards that same week. And instead of just saying, fair cop, mate, we didn't realise it was a problem, we'll pull it off the shelves. Some people are going, yeah, well, I'm not the only person selling it, such and such down the road selling it, because people are wankers. They're more interested in trying to divert the attention than they are just to tackle the problem that they're faced with. But all James done was took it off the shelf. They emailed all their customers saying this has just happened. We'd advise that you remove it off the shelf. Ace of Apes rebranded it. They replaced what they had to replace, and everyone carries on and happy. You know what I mean? There doesn't have to be drama about this shit, but people try and create a drama because they're stuck in the middle of a shitstorm.
Neil Pugsley said in chat, he said, I've had trading standards in the shop buying juice to test.
Well, then Neil Pugsley's a wanker because he should have told him to get the fuck out of his shop.
Yeah, but then I think if they're coming in to buy juice to test, what the fuck are they testing it for?
They might be testing it to see whether it is 3 milligram, and to me they should be doing that. Or see.
Well, I'm going to go and get a trading standard badge made up. I'm going to every shop and going, I want to try every one of them juice. I want to take it away from testing.
I know someone that sold 350 sleeves of cigarettes to an off license back in the day, and during this bloke used to go and buy fags every week and sell them to the same geezer. And during a conversation with someone else, they said, such and such is leaving that shop, and he says, when? He says he's supposed to be going on Saturday next week. Now this geezer was supposed to drop off, say 250, 300 sleeves of fags on the Saturday. Then he used to go back on the Sunday and pick up his dough. So he come through conversation with someone else, he come to law that my man's going to rob these 300 sleeves of fags because when he goes Sunday morning to pick up his money, my man's done one, he's gone. So he phoned him up on the Thursday and says, mate, I ain't got these fags. I need the money. When I drop them off Saturday, I need the dough. Now, the bloke still needed the cigarettes because I know he'd got about another 12 off licenses and he used to shot the fags out through them. So after a bit of arguing and I can't get it till Sunday, he said, listen, if you can't get it till Sunday, you can't have the fags. So he said, all right, and so I'll get the money. So he went there on the Saturday night, dropped the fags off, got the dough off him, and about 15 minutes later, 4 of the geezer who sold the fags pals went in as trading standards and reclaimed the fucking lot and says, and just took them off and says that look, they went in properly as trading standards and got some fake and took the fags off the cover.
Fucking hell. Did they get fined? Did they get fined as well, don't they?
No, because it was my pal's pals who fucking took them what were in trading standards. Well, that's what I'm saying. Because he knew he was going to get mugged off, the minute he dropped the fags off and got the money, he must have phoned his mates who were around the corner and said, go in there. So his pals went in there pretending to be trading standards. He said, we've got a reason to believe he's selling cigarettes under the counter, found all these sleeves of fags that more pal had just dropped off and said, we need to take them, took them all, writ him out a receipt and says, look, we'll be in touch, and obviously just fucked off with the 200 or 300 sleeves of fag, wherever he was.
But to be honest, you could do that. You could do that. You could go into a shop as trading standards. People would not have a fucking clue if you're trading standards or not.
Yeah, because most trading standards look like fucking maths teachers who interfere.
Usually plain clothes as well, aren't they? They don't have sort of badges out.
No, they do have a warrant card, look, please.
But they're not, as you say, they're not active really in vaping, are they? They're sort of not clamping down. But we always go back to the fact is that it's not a priority, and they don't have the fucking staff, and they don't have the knowledge.
I don't think they've got the inkling either. I don't think they give a shit.
I've only ever seen trading standards walking around marketplaces.
Yeah, looking for knockoff gear.
Yeah. Like, when they come and they start filming the gaffs like that.
But that's all.
That's the only place.
Fucking hell, back in the day, I can remember walking around a local market on a Sunday, and it was like a Scooby-Doo cartoon because it was like black DVDs, moody tracksuits, fucking moody trainers, black DVDs, moody tracksuits, moody trainers, stall after stall after stall after stall. And I used to come out there and think, how the fuck has trading standards not landed on it? And then once in a blue moon, trading standards would go there, literally wipe out 95% of the market. The next week you go and it's fucking DVDs, tracksuits, trainers, DVDs, because they didn't give a shit. For the amount of time you get stopped, it's like someone losing a fucking £100,000 crop. That's 1 of 10 crops, so they've lost 100 grand of £1 million. Who gives a fuck? It's just part of the course in the business that you're running. Hello, little fatty boy.
What?
Yeah, there's ways and means to it, and it is a bit of a sort of, it's going to be what it's going to be, really, isn't it? As you say, it just is what it is. Here's one before you go, because I know you've got to get off in a minute, Paul. So Instagram have decided that they are fully banning promotion of electronic cigarettes. Does this mean this is the end to vape models?
Hopefully.
So there's been 4 companies that have been removed from the platform for advertising. So do we feel like Instagram's now not going to be the place to promote vaping?
Mate, they'll just promote something else. They're just fucking tramps and slags in their own. Last
one before you go then. So I posted a picture on Facebook this week of Philip Schofield vaping. Seen vaping at was it the BAFTAs? I think it was at the BAFTAs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's
National
TV Awards. Yeah, that's it. He spoke about vaping on This Morning numerous times. Like, they've been on and questioned it, and I've seen interviews of what he's done, but he's never actually admitted to being a vapor. Why do you think that he would never sort of stand by it and support it when he does it?
Why do you think that no one knew Philip Schofield vaped before that? I knew Philip Schofield vaped about fucking 5 years ago.
I didn't know.
I didn't understand why you were so shocked about it, but at the end of the day, I suppose they have to be impartial in the way that they do. Philip Schofield's earning clank.
Yeah.
And he's told to be impartial. He'll be impartial, simple as. And at the end of the day, on that, when you're in his position on prime time morning TV, for vape models who are sat at home doing fuck all apart from waiting to post a picture of a juice, then they can't be seen to be guiding people down a certain path of vaping's good, vaping's bad. I mean, really, they're paid to remain impartial on most subjects. It's not very often Philip Schofield loses his shit and has a right good rant about it.
No.
You just can't. So.
Does it change people's mindset seeing him vaping, though?
Does he what?
Does it change people's mindset actually seeing photos of him vaping, like little old Mary who's 85 and watches him on a fucking morning?
I don't think anyone gives a fuck, Tom. Honestly, there's loads of famous people that vape, and I don't think. What's his name? Fucking who done the craze? Who done?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
He's way cooler than fucking Philip Schofield. Tom Hardy was like, he's a good-looking lad, and he's fucking young, and he's got a nice bod on him. And if anyone's going to promote vaping, Tom Hardy's going to promote vaping, and he doesn't hide the fact he's done interviews vaping.
Yeah. They just don't like. It's just when I saw it, because obviously I didn't know he'd vaped, and like yourself said he'd been vaping previously. A few people in the comments said we knew he vaped. It's just like it was a shock to me because I'd never seen it, and then to think that somebody of his stature, and then we go back to like Leonardo, he vapes, Tom Hardy vapes, Samuel Jackson vapes. There's a few of them that are out there that vape, and nobody really seems to be.
It's your job as wholesale manager to have all these people sponsor Bullshit Cricket.
I will message ITV in the morning.
Yeah.
I'll get onto ITV at morning, me, and say, can I have Philip Schofield's email so I can get
I want Tom Hardy with the dirty when he's on. That's what I want.
I'm sure a few people may have contacted him, but I don't know, because you can imagine they're not in the loop, are they, with vaping? So whatever works for them. I can't imagine them being hobbyists.
It's your job to have Tom Hardy on our standing mayor expert. What Professor Greenrow? I want Tom Hardy on the stand.
Oh, he's an English boy as well, isn't he? Can you imagine how much fucking money it costs to get him on the fucking stand?
Fuck all if you do a good job of sponsoring him.
Like, Tash is making dinner for you. We're gonna get you set up with all merch, all fucking mods. You're gonna be fucking rocking, son. We'll expect to see you in there with your snapback on and your hoodie and your trainers, and we'll get you on. That'd be fucking mint.
There goes the
you need Tom Hardy to recreate the clip out of the craze when he goes, "What are you doing with a fucking rolling pin? Come to bake a fucking cake." But with the dirty mud in his hand, mate, that's what we need to do. And then what he can do, he can take a big rip on it, blow a cloud, hold them all in vape, and the other brother can fucking leather the face off him when they can't see it. That's what should have happened in that film.
And no, the other geezer stood there with a fucking mod. He stood there with a dirty rather than a rolling pin. We could do that.
I come here for a fucking tear up.
Oh, fucking talking about Expo, I do want to get into this, and I feel like I have to get into this. And it's the negativity surrounding the London Expo that I've seen on the groups.
Me and Adam spoke about this in the week, actually. Not even at great length, to be fair, but I just think that people, one, they need to understand that the actual event that it's in is a much smaller space. So they're saying there's only 60 vendors, but I've only got a 6 metre stand over a normal 15 metre stand because they told me I couldn't have anything bigger because the event's much smaller, therefore everyone's got to try and fit in there. I think Jam has done vape events in London a massive misjustice over the last 2 years. I think Vapor Expo have got their work cut out to attract people through the door, to make it a success, to make it bigger for next year. We're there just to support Jay and Lee and Philip, no other reason. If I've never done Jam, I wouldn't do Jam. And if someone else had done an event this weekend, next weekend in London, I wouldn't have done it. I've done it because of my alliance with Jay and Lee, and for no other reason. And I think, as someone who's long-standing in the community, I think all people should support where they can. And I'm just doing my bit, and it'll either work for us or it won't work for us. If it don't work for us, it's not cost us millions of pounds to be there. But I just felt like we should support them because they've always supported us. They've always been good to us and assisted us on our journey over the last 4 years with them at different events. So I've got mixed feelings about Expo myself in London. That said, if the right people come, I mean, look how small Germany was, Tom, and actually the vibe in there was fantastic. So it's not about a massive space, it's about getting the right people in there, it's about getting the right atmosphere in there. And I can't control who's coming. I ain't got. Yeah. Some people will come and see us, some people won't. There's going to be people that go to that event that don't travel to Birmingham. You've got the likes of Nikki that's travelling from Scotland down to fucking London. So there's always them people that go the extra mile to get to where they want to go. I haven't got a clue how it's going to be, but I hope it's a success. I hope it's a success for Jay and Lee because actually they put the effort in to make these events happen. We've supported them. Lots of other people have supported them. It's ultimately down to the consumers to come and support us.
Well, I because somebody put a post on the Expo and I read it and I responded to it, and I basically said the vendors are going, the event's on. If the consumer doesn't turn up, then whose fault is it? That's literally what I said. It says the event's being put on. It costs a lot of money for vendors to do it. It'll cost a lot of money for people to set up the show, like the Expo. They've actually cost. It just costs stupid amounts of money. So if consumers don't turn up, how can they blame somebody who's gone, who's put on the show, who's vended the show? Whose issue is it for being a rubbish show? Yes, it's exactly the same layout as Birmingham, just on a smaller scale. So I mean, don't think
being down this end, like everyone I've spoke to locally to me, and me personally, I'm excited about having an expo down here. I've been to London Vape Show, I've been to Jam, I've been to every Jam in the last 5 years, and I've seen it getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And last year, I was in and out, and I could have been 20 minutes. If it weren't for bumping into people and talking to people, I would have been out there when everybody was coming in. London, that London Vape Expo was the biggest pile of wank I went to 2 of them. That was the only 2 they done down there. And obviously, I've been to the expos up there, up in Birmingham, and they're just heads and tails above anything we've got down here. And everyone I spoke to locally, like people I know that vape, and I know everyone I talk to in vape shops around here, they're all going, they're all hyped up, and they're all excited about it. Whether they stopped going to Birmingham 2 years ago, or they can't be asked to do it no more because it's the same stuff, but it's all right for a day, but they can't be doing weekends and that. Or like people that haven't been, they're just all looking forward to it. I mean, it's like you said, it's down to who they can get through the door, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
And it's not like they've not done enough by giving like free tickets out. They've done from previous people in Birmingham stuff. They've done the best to sort of get people.
They can't do right for doing wrong because people are saying, "Fuck, it's the same price as Expo tickets." It's probably costing us a similar amount of money to go there as what it could cost to go to Birmingham.
Yep.
And
everything costs fucking more money in London.
It's costing them a lot more money to have that size hall than what it would do if they had that size hall in Birmingham. Everyone.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's a success, the only logical solution would be next year it'll be bigger anyway, surely. So if it does work out for them, next year it's going to be bigger, and the longer it goes on, the more it's going to get bigger and better.
Yeah.
And surely that's the way you do events.
Yeah, but that's my thoughts, Adam. To be honest, but these events are too expensive for the likes of Jay and Lee to just go balls deep on the first one, especially because Jam has got such a bad reputation.
Yeah.
And this event will be compared to Jam because it will be. Now, for me, Jam has always been different to the Vapor Expo. It's always been a different show. It's always been a different event. It's always been geared around business and business to business. And to me, it's a business to business show that's allowed consumers to go in there at certain times of the day. Vape Expo, it was about dragging lots of people into the place to enjoy vaping. Two different shows.
Totally. I personally just don't like seeing the negativity without giving it a try. You know what I mean? You see it all, oh, it's this, it's going to be that, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Well, at least go. And then if you've gone and you didn't enjoy the show, then say that. But before the show's even fucking a week, if it's a week away from it and you're going, oh, it's not even worth going. Well, how do you know it's not worth going? You've not been. There's not been an expo in London run by different people.
Every kid on Facebook's a fucking expert, and that's the problem. Like they're all miserable cunts. They all turn into the biggest fucking birds, and they want to backstab and slag off because somebody's doing well, and they're opening up a new expo. Like you say, you've got to suck it and see, you know, like these people have got to go before they make an opinion on it.
100%. I just hope it is a success for them. I really do. Hope it's a success for everyone else.
There's nothing better than having something like that in this down London. I've said it for years now. I've said it for years since Jam started getting shit. Because when I first went Jam, it was the bollocks. I ain't even gonna lie. Like probably because it was my first event as well that I went to. And it was like I was in awe of everything. Absolutely everything was new first time, and it was an enjoyable event. And then they moved it to the other hall, and it got smaller, and got smaller. And now it's like you get a couple of good things there, and then you might as well just get about 40 shops in the hall. These stands are selling absolutely everything, and they're literally just a pop-up shop for the day.
Yeah. It's who's aiming it, and I think having a show like the Expo in London is aiming at a total different demographic to what Jam was. As Paul said, it was very much a business-minded show that'll let people in to go and see if they wanted to pick up some bargains.
But it's Expo who's been to Jam's head and explaining that to them, because these people that have been to Jam, they're probably going to voice that opinion, like Paul said before. Like they're probably going to be like, Jam was shit, this is going to be shit. It's going to be exactly the same. But, well,
see
can't wait.
I think, if I'm being brutally honest, I think that the Vapor Expo should be doing more social media promotion to explain what the show is, how it's different from Jam, why it's going to be different, why it's smaller, why the tickets are the same price. But they've given away a huge amount of tickets, and then you've got a bunch of people saying, fucking hell, as if the tickets are the same price as Birmingham. And you've got a bunch of people saying, oh, it's going to be shit, they'll give away loads of tickets. So how the fuck can you win?
Yeah.
You can't win. And it is what it is. We'll see how it is next weekend. And it's either going to be good, bad, or indifferent. And the same as Manchester. Manchester was the worst show we ever went to financially. And we still managed.
I loved it.
We still managed to break even on that weekend. And it was still one of my favourite shows that I've ever been to, and it was dead in there. And I loved it. I loved the vibe in there. I loved the atmosphere in there. It was just relaxed. It was nice. It was cool.
Yeah, my favourite event. And the fact it was a lifestyle event, so it weren't purely vaping, but everyone in there vaped anyway. And it was just that. Even
once again, that event were mint. But it was the consumer that didn't turn up. And yeah, maybe it was because of where it was and it didn't have much to get there. And
I think the parking let down, number one. Number two, it wasn't really spoken about or promoted, I don't think, enough at the time. But I thought, once again, it was the first show in Manchester. They're going to get that out of the way, like cut their teeth with that one and move on. And they just didn't. And that's disappointing.
And that's because they're so expensive. But I would say that Emil, for me, grafted his tits off to promote that show. So obviously, it depends who you've got on your friends list. It depends what company. But I seen Emil going live with people every single evening, vendors that were going, people that were going, grafting. I was not going to do that event. Tom was on holiday, I was on holiday, we weren't going. It was the weekend before the kids went back to school. I was adamant I wasn't doing it, and I spoke to Emil at Vape Fest for 45 minutes, and actually just his passion. I said, you know what, I'll come and support you, because actually he was so passionate about that show. He's so passionate about the industry. He's so passionate about what he does. And he got more support there. And then I said, you know what, we'll come, we'll support you.
I'll always say that was probably my favourite show I've ever been to. I loved it, every minute of it.
And that's where the consumer, for me, misses out. massively because of the stubbornness of, oh, we're not going to go because you know what I mean, it's where it is. You know, if you just try it and see how you get on with the show, more than likely you enjoy vaping, so you're going to enjoy the show. I'm sorry, but you are.
Yeah.
The trouble is though, look, Adam says, he touched on it briefly a minute ago. People start to get bitterly jealous, and I know there's people that will be going, fucking hell, they've smashed Birmingham, now they're trying to smash London. Fuck that, man, I won't even go, fuck them. But literally, that is their reason for not going. And I know that if I put a show on, it'd fall on its ass. Am I back? Are we back?
Yeah, so that, yeah. Bring your laptop closer.
I haven't moved it, mate. I just yeah, I mean, if I was to say, right, we're doing a Birmingham Expo or we'll go somewhere different, we'll do an Expo, or we're going to try and we'll do an outdoor event like Vape Fest. Actually, people wouldn't support it because I'm behind it. Because people are inherently jealous that Paul might make a quid out of this, so I'm not fucking going, fuck you. But 5 years ago, if I'd have said I was putting an event on, every man with a dog would have bought a fucking ticket.
This is true.
And it's that whole thing about people want you to be successful. They'll even help you along until you get to a point where you're starting to nudge ahead of them, and then they're like, fuck, I shouldn't have helped that. Yeah. You know, I'll pull the rug from under his fucking feet. And that's not just in vaping, that's in the world over. The world is cunts, let's be honest, and people are jealous. And they'll try and smile through gritty teeth and wish you well. Really, they want you to fall on your fucking face and break your nose. And that's just the way that it is. And there's people that are a bit like, well, fuck, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what Jay and Lee have made over the years out of Expo, but I'd imagine they've made a good living out of it. But I know that they employ staff and do that job full time from January the 1st until December the 31st. He said some part-time thing that they just get a team together 6 weeks before Expo and say, right, let's fucking put this event on. They're working on these events 365 days of the year apart from weekends. And leading up to Expo, I know that they're working weekends. They employ staff all year round to manage the Expos. It's what they do. It's their business. It's not just like a thing that they do twice a year and it takes a week to put together. And I know that because I've spent so much time with Jay over the last fucking 3 years, 4 years. And I know that the effort they put into to make these events successful. And it's why I've continued to support them, and I've been lucky that I've got their support back. And it's why we're going to London, and we'll be there. And it'll either work for us or it won't work for us. And if it don't work for us, if they put it on again next year, I'm not saying I wouldn't go. I'd have to think about whether we go because we can't afford to just keep chucking money at something that's not working. But as a starting point, if I just says to Jay, well, I'll see how this one goes, and if it works okay, I'll be in for the next one. If every cunt says that, no fuck is going to be there.
Yeah. So
it's up to us. It's up to the people that have. I've been blessed with a good living out of this industry. If I can't give a little bit back to try and for people to come there for a weekend and enjoy our company or enjoy our products, or fucking just to walk past and call me a cunt, I'm giving everyone an opportunity to come and tell me I'm a wanker if that's what you want to do, or come over and say
none of them got shit like that. It's all these bollocks, isn't it? It's all these bollocks. I mean, what they make on it, what they make doing the event is irrelevant. We don't go there to give them money. Like we go there to have a laugh and see what's about. And that, I mean, obviously I go there with views now, like with the endless. But before I went there to have a laugh. I didn't even know who run Expo at that point. It didn't bother me. It was all about me going to see what's on offer, what I could buy that's new out that no one else has got, and if I enjoy it, and new juices, and just have an all-round laugh.
I think that's been taken away from it, hasn't it? As you said, Adam, I think that's been taken away from it. I feel like a lot of people don't go to see people have not seen all year and spoke to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, they need to rein it in, where the fact is that people are seeing new product, but they also get to see people that they've spoke to online and they've probably never met in life, or they've not seen them that year or whatever, and just meet up with people. People need to now get back to sort of not even old school thinking, just a way of enjoying the events, because that's exactly what they're there for. They're there to have a laugh and stuff. And
mate, if our business went tits up between now and May, I would still go to Expo in May to meet the people that I like to meet when I'm there in May. The fact that we're vending there is irrelevant for me. The fact that we can go to Expo for a weekend and make more money than what we spent going, even if that's a tenner, is a bonus, because actually I'm going there to see the people I don't get to see from May till October, from October till May. Simple as that.
And that needs to be taken on board with a lot of people, I think, honestly, especially with people being so negative about the events. The only way that we're going to be able to progress the events, because it's another day added to the calendar. That's literally what it is. It's another day added to the calendar. And for us to progress in, for vendors to be able to vend, for the guys to carry on putting on export, and for people to attend the shows to actually enjoy themselves, there needs to be that support. And yeah, one apple spoils the bunch, but it's that negativity that you always see. And that negativity doesn't need to be there, especially if you're not.
Negativity driven from shit vendors that have already failed in this industry. Wankers that have tried and they've failed. And instead of saying, you know what, fair play to them, man, they're going, oh, fuck vaping, shit. It's only shit because you couldn't run a piece of a brewery, you fucking dickhead. Because you it's true. There's people out there that have had shops, they've worked for different shops, and they're that bitter that they couldn't even sell vape gear at its peak. That's how much of a fucking shit cunt they are. They couldn't even sell a mod when we were selling 400 mods a day.
Yeah.
And because they've failed at life, because they've got ginger hair, or because they've got fucking 4 eyes, or because they are whatever they are, they're just bitter fucking idiots. And actually, they try and instill this bitterness into other people. Oh, fuck vaping, fuck this, fuck that. That geezer's a cunt. That geezer's up his own arse. Actually, there's people out there just trying to make a living, to feed their kids, to pay their staff their wages so they can feed their fucking kids right. But the bottom line is, the industry is full of sour, bitter motherfuckers. And on that note, I'm out of here. Peace. I've seen lots of ex-vendors or ex-people in the industry that are sore. They're sore as fuck. And you know what? They need to get a grip of their life, man.
You're true on that one. You're true on that one. Right, go enjoy your evening and we'll carry on the show. Are you out of here? Take it easy, have a good evening, and we'll see you shortly. Thank you for joining us.
See you later.
See you later. Just me and you, darling. Yeah. Just me and you. After that great what should we say, leaving note.
How do I now depart from this life? How do I follow that up? Oh, I know. We could talk about a box.
Not talk about that box. That will not be nailed. We've got a couple more subjects, Adam, that I want to go over. And then I've got another subject that I feel like we could talk about. So the next one is England Health are to release their annual report this month. So every month, obviously, they do the 95% safer. They do that report, and they're releasing this month. So sometime in February, we're going to see another report for vaping from England Health. What are you expecting to see, or what do you want to see from what they've got to say?
I expect it to be exactly the same. I expect it to be 97.5% better for you than smoking. And I expect people not to give a fuck because it doesn't sell papers. Whereas if it says, oh, it's created 1 death this year, then everyone's going to know about it. It's going to be on front of every paper. It's going to be on every fucking news. But because it's 95% better for you, 97.5, whatever it is, better for you, and no one's died by vaping normal vape, it's going to be swept under the carpet, and we'll have to wait for the next one.
Definitely. That's 100% what I would like to see. 110% what I'd like to see. I feel like having an annual review about it is good. Is very, very good. But I also feel like maybe if it's done in stages. So I hope that they've maybe got some sort of, I don't want to say fucking test people. I hope they're like monitoring somebody that smokes traditional tobacco, monitoring somebody that vapes, monitoring somebody that doesn't vape, and sort of getting them test results together and seeing what is the actual difference.
If they kind of done, they tried to kind of like tested people on a mouth to lung, and then tested people on a stubhome, and then maybe tested people on a tube, and then see if there was any kind of difference between them. I would be all ears for that, really, because I mean, I free.
I like that sort of, maybe like on the different sort of styles of vaping, the actual risk on the different styles of vaping, maybe, that would be pretty.
I'd like to see something like that, but I mean, I'm really happen I doubt it.
No, I feel like they're going to put it as a whole. They're just going to get vaping as a whole and just clout it into a fucking whole thing. And regardless of what you do and how you vape, they're going to put that into what it is. But hopefully, as you say, they'll come back with maybe a better stat. They may come back with a worse stat. I just feel like for them to keep on top of it and then to say that they're going to be releasing a paper every year is definitely a bonus, because then we can see the progress of it as well.
Well, it's regulated, if you like, then, isn't it? Like they've kept on top of it, and they're gonna, if it goes up and goes down. I mean, if the number goes up and we're like 100% better than smoking, no one will probably hear about it other than us sitting on 2,000 episode or whatever. But like, and if it goes down, and then it's gone down to 80% better than smoking, is it really worth it? And all that. That's all you're going to get.
Yeah, definitely.
The only thing that's going to sell papers, if you like, from this is negativity, and you know, and that's what sells papers.
I don't really think they can come with much negativity, to be realistic.
No,
just over a year. Because for me, obviously, they're doing vaping as a whole. So are they including sort of not just vaping nicotine? Are they doing other products? Are they doing vaping sort of maybe THC, CBD? I think Gallup's crashed. I've all of my loads. So I think Gallup's crashed. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I think.
Yeah, there we go.
Hello?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
No, say what you're saying. Sorry.
I think I'm just leaning towards the idea of it, who's paying them really, because if it's certain tobacco companies paying for this thing, then they're gonna be putting in probably the cannabis oils and everything and all sorts, and do you know what I mean? The bad bits, if you like, that normal people that vape nicotine don't get involved with.
That's the big thing, is sort of, are they going to just stick it to nicotine vaping? Are they going to then start branching out and doing separate tests? Are they going to involve it in the same paper? You know, it can be, let's be realistic, it could be very, very negative in that fact if they do it, install everything.
But they do a study on smoking. Do they involve pure THCs in that as well? I mean, they don't, so I mean they shouldn't, because it's illegal, isn't it? That's the only reason I'm thinking. Like, I mean, yeah, but you're right. You're right. It's it can be harmful. If they're going to do that, it's going to be a lot worse, isn't it?
100%, 100%. It's just where, as you say, who's on the payroll, who's on the books to do this. You know what I mean, sort of thing. It's what is it? So I think it's something that's going to come about. So on a bit of positive news though, mate, I don't know if you've seen it, but the NHS now has a section on the Stop Smoking website, and it's starting to recommend shops. So they're saying you need to go to specialist vape shops. Because what they basically, it's like, you go to like frequently asked questions on a website.
Yeah,
it's basically that laid out for vaping, and it says in it like, no, you can't get it on prescription. You can't really your GP won't do anything about your vaping. You need to go to specialist vape shops. It also states in there as well, like you can buy them from pharmacies and other places as well, which obviously they're going to state that anyway, because it is obviously the NHS.
Yeah.
But to actually state they're actually recommending specialist vape shops, which I would like to say there's probably a few, because we know there's plenty of vape shops, but you know what I mean? I feel like it's now coming to where it's a bit more positive, a bit more of a movement forward, and
of course you can't get better than that, really, can you?
No, not at all. And I think it's a bonus. And once again, then being backed up by England Health is definitely a positive for us, regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well, he's a upside.
100%. 100%. So we'll I've not really got any more to talk about, but we'll go over. I just want to go over the Expo. So what is your sort of expectations for London Expo being the very first one? What is so for anybody who's watching who's never been to the Expo or is thinking of going to the London Expo, what are your expectations for the show, knowing what the other shows have been like in London?
Well, I mean, the other shows, when I first go, you know what it's like when you go to your first event. It was like, whoa, and then Jam was good. It was good then. Vaping was at its high. I even took my mum to that first event.
Really?
To that first event, yeah. And my sister. And we bumped into Matt and Stu and Paul there. That was the first time I met Paul, yeah. And that was the first ever Jam that I went to. And then since then, it just went downhill. And now it just seems very mundane going there. Like, it just seems like everybody's doing the same. Do you know what I mean? But as an expo, because expo is that slightly, it is, everyone tries to hype you up and you're kind of, you know what it's like. And if they transfer what they do in Birmingham to what they do in London, which I have no doubt that they can do, it's going to be good. It's going to be. I personally think it's going to be good.
Yeah,
and you like we were saying earlier, you're always going to get negative dickheads, but we haven't even had one yet, so they can't say nothing.
I honestly think, Adam, and this is me, hand on heart saying, I believe London will draw a total different demographic to what Birmingham does.
Tom, you'd be surprised how many different types of society vape down here. Like, I could take you to places where it's predominantly Chinese people and they're vaping their bollocks off. I can take you to places where, even just like different types of London. Like, everyone's got their little areas, and everyone's vaping, everyone's doing it. But instead of going to like specialist shops, we've only just got our first decent shop around here. And that's down the road, and he knows about his building. He knows everything. He's a nice bloke, nice bloke. And but other than that, everyone used to go into like your sweet shop to buy your stuff and shit like that. And it's hopefully it's going to attract them people to know where they should be going, because I don't think people should be going into sweet shops or going into the hairdressers and buying 50 ml of juice and getting a short back and sides. I just can't understand.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% wholeheartedly on that. And I feel like we actually forget, and you obviously don't because you are London based, but I think people forget how big London actually is.
But it's the capital, isn't it, mate?
Do you know what I mean? Like, people actually forget like, I come from Leeds, and Leeds is a big city, and then I look at London and I think, look at the amount of different people that are in London who necessarily don't know about vaping, who are vaping, don't know about shows in Birmingham, aren't too much into it, who are going to be able to get on their doorstep in the biggest capital in the fucking it's the capital, it's the biggest place in fucking UK, to go and see this. So that I feel like Jam, as Paul said and you said previously, it was very aimed at business.
Yeah,
they're literally trying to get as many consumers in as possible to see what vaping's about. And I think it's a massive plus that if it is anything like Birmingham and we do appeal to new people, because we've got to remember, we did a stat last week on the show and we said 2 billion people in the world smoke. 7.6 billion people in the world. So 20% of the population of the world smokes. So that is still a hell of a lot of people. There's fucking millions and millions of people in London who smoke. And if they have the opportunity of being able to go on to an event like that and see it, it could change them and it could get them to vaping. It increases.
And what people don't understand, even the people that do vape in London, right? They do vape in London. When I go up to like, I don't know, the Dudley shop, or go up to Yorkshire Vapor, the Yorkshire Vapor meets and all that, like the juices that we stop off at the vape shops are not in London, and the London juices aren't in these shops. It's a completely different clientele. Like I don't know whether it's that they sell different juices because people like different flavors in different parts of the UK, but you just don't see the same juices. Like there's certain juices that's been about and have been big, and when I was at their peak, like up in Birmingham, coming out of Birmingham and shit like that, we never heard of until I got onto Facebook, mate. Never heard of.
Yeah.
And then you said, I mean, like you just don't see them down here. You just don't see them. So I mean, it's a different customer base. It's got to be. Even coming down here.
That can only be a positive for me.
Of course, yeah, of course. I mean, if they can get a better quality of juice that they think, and nobody else has got it, then fucking get on it. Like it's got to be good, isn't it?
There's definitely. I get where people are coming from because of bad experiences in the past, and the shows that I've been on in London haven't been the best shows. I understand why people would be negative, but for the actual stats of Birmingham and the events in Birmingham that have been in place by the same team that are putting on the different event, I don't see how you could really be negative for the fact of what events they put on in the past. If you're going off, what achievements Birmingham, the Vapor Expo Birmingham have achieved, and they're taking it to a different city, I personally can't see how you could say, well, it's not going to be as good because why? Because it's the same people.
When I was talking to Paul about it, and then Paul said to me, I've heard a few negative things. And I seriously hadn't heard anything negative, so I went purposely looking. And the only people that I'm seeing, literally, have probably been to an expo about 4 years ago. They live in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they ain't got a pot to piss in. They're smoking on a fucking Smock's Alien. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they haven't got a right to have an opinion on it. Just go and see if you can get a fucking free mod, mate. You know what I mean? Like, you got free tickets. Yeah, you got free tickets. Then good. But no, not everybody's got free tickets. The only people that got free tickets are the people that bought a fucking ticket last time round.
Yeah.
So as a Christmas present as well. So like instead of slacking it off and saying it's going to be shit, at least have the decency to fucking wait to see what one's like before you start calling everyone out.
Do you know what I mean? I can appreciate when people are going to say something if they go, but then to sit on Facebook and slag it and then not go,
yeah, of course,
it makes no fucking sense to me in the slightest at all.
Yeah. But I mean, whether we go Vape Fest or whether we go anywhere else, you're always going to get people that wanting to go all year round, and yet at the last minute their missus said, "Oh, you ain't going," and then all of a sudden it's shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I personally can't fucking wait. I don't know the guys that put it on, so I'm unbiased in that sense. But you can't beat Birmingham Expo, and hopefully, for me personally, that being in London is going to be on my own turf, and I can go home at the end of it, and you lot still have to go in a hotel.
Oh, we've done Germany last year, mate. We've travelled this time, so I don't worry about going to London. London's fine, mate. Absolute no stress.
My favourite event ever was Manchester, and I had to travel for that. I had to stay there, and it was the fucking bollocks. I ain't even gonna lie, it was the bollocks.
It's just what you take from the events. I feel like a lot of people are sort of like, oh, if I go there and it's not my cup of tea, or I didn't get this free, or I didn't get this, or I didn't get that.
That's where Manchester deficiated a bit, like, because if you weren't into vaping, you'd be into your tattoos, and if you weren't into your tattoos, you'd be into skateboarding or BMXing, and then if not, you had the retro gaming, or if not, you can go in the car park and watch a bird drive around and drift about, and it's a couple of other little geezers drift about, and then there was always something else going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be, obviously you need to either be a vapor or wanting to stop smoking to enjoy these events and the expos and like if you're a smoker and you've got no intentions of stopping smoking, like don't fucking go, like, because it's not for you. But then saying that, you got things like Professor Green rapping up on stage. You got like music blaring, and everybody's generally having a good time. People getting drunk at the bar all day, having a laugh. It's actually a giggle, and you'll always find someone to talk to, even when you don't want to talk to no one.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true. I honestly think if anyone is watching or knows anybody who's thinking of going, I feel like you need to, you know what I mean, bite the bullet, go for the day. Even if you go for the day, see what it's like, and just whatever. It's a say.
Go on your own. A lot of people like they go, oh, I can't go. No one wants to come with me. Like, it don't fucking matter. Like, at the moment you walk through that door, you've got 10,000 people to talk to, and they're all willing to talk to you because you've got that one thing in common. And this is where the community should come back into it, because we've all got time for each other, whether you're black, white, you've got bowls or in your ears or fucking spikes coming out your face, and you're wearing a suit. Like, everybody's got that one thing in common, and everybody knows about what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And if anybody's worried about parking, there's an app on your phone that you can download. Nowhere are we sponsored by this or whatsoever, neither the Expo. It's called My Parking Space, and you literally can find it as parking anywhere, and you can find it as cheap or as expensive as you want. It may mean that you have to walk somewhere.
You can park
or get the tube
about 5 miles down the road and get the fucking rattler in. That's what I'd do.
Exactly.
Or pay £20 and stop being a tight cunt.
Yeah, it's as easy as that, simple as. I think we'll sign out, Adam, a little bit earlier. What we'll do is we'll do status of the week. Paul's not really posted much this week, but his best one was obviously on the 1st of Feb, and it says, if you think the UK is no longer in Europe, you're a wet quilt. So, yeah, guys, remember, we'll be doing the Expo show on Wednesday next week. Obviously, Expo is next week, so we'll probably be doing an Expo-themed show. If you are going, we'll see you there. If you're not, do think about going. We'll see you soon. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and hope you have a good evening. Take it easy, all. Peace.